Hello there, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to 1992. Yes, we're carrying on with the series. Another fantastic year, bunch of great records, and it was really hard for me to only pick 10 albums, especially my top 5 was really hard to put together. I had a blast revisiting it once again this year. Some of these records I heard recently, some of them I haven't heard, I don't know, for 10, 15 years. And the list has a nice variety of albums and artists that I love. So it kind of represents my overall taste in music as well. So I'm gonna start with an artist I already talked about for 1990, and also they actually had a separate video of their own, and that is Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. This time around, I have their record Henry's Dream. Like I said when I talked about The Good Son for 1990, that album predicted what would become of the band in the 90s. The song structure is much more focused. The songs are elegant. There are more love songs as well. And compared to the Good Son, which was mostly piano based, this one is focused more on acoustic guitar, more rocking album in a way. Also, it opens up with Papa Won't Leave You Henry, an intense, energetic track, and a track that kind of sets the mood for the rest of the record. And there is also nice variety as well. There are more up-tempo songs like The Opener and Brother My Cup Is Empty, and of course some ballads like Straight to You or Loom of the Land. My favorite track on the record, on the other hand, is Jack the Ripper. And speaking of variety, that song incorporates those primal drumming that was much more prominent on their earlier records. It is a really nice bombast closer, so fantastic song. It is a really strong album. It is a really cohesive listen, and I think the band will go even further and make some better records, especially in the 90s. So yeah, number 10, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Henry's Dream. At number 9, I have PJ Harvey and her debut record, Dry. Actually, it was a band effort since uh, she was a part of a trio and during the first two releases, so Dry and Rid of Me. But anyway, this album is fantastic. It is raw, it is dirty, it is passionate, it is heavy. Has a nice mix of noisy rock songs like Dress and Sheila and a Gig, and some more experimental and beautiful tracks like Plants and Rags, and also some great deep cuts as songs like Victory, for example. And what I love about PJ is her voice. Her vocal performance is always fantastic. It's always passionate, and she sings with so much passion that makes some of these songs elevates them even further. Combine that with her abstract lyricism, we have a recipe for a great debut record, which this one is. It's really focused for a debut record as well, and she will carry on and continue making even better records, and will not be the last time she appears on my lists. So yeah, number 9, PJ Harvey, Dry. At number 8, I have the second studio album by a Norwegian black metal band, Dark Throne, and the album is A Blaze in the Northern Sky, one of the most important albums in black metal history, and especially in so-called second wave of black metal that was prominent in the early 90s. They started though as a death metal band, but evolved to kind of black metal sound for this album. And the thing is, they still retain that death metal sound even here, especially you can hear that in the riffs that have very death metal kind of sound to them. But anyway, the album is really dark, it is heavy, it is epic, it is bleak, it is mesmerizing at the same time. The production, as is the case for most early black metal albums, it is raw, barely produced, but that kind of production works really well for this kind of records. Only 6 tracks, but they're complex, long, and menacing. And just listen to Katerian Life Code. It sounds cold and abrasive. It is a timeless black metal album and one of the best metal albums from the 90s, in my opinion. So yeah, number 8, Dark Throne, A Blaze in the Northern Sky. I mean, just look at cover artwork as well. And it says so much what kind of music you can expect from it as well. At number 7, I have an album that is not maybe for everyone. and I know some people have problems with Tom Waits, but I do really love this one. Of course, number seven, Tom Waits, Bone Machine, and what a unique sounding record this is. I really love the production here. I like the percussion. There are some nice touches. It sounds mechanic, almost industrial, and sometimes it sounds like he's using instruments made of out of bones. It has that sound to it. It's really creepy, eerie, and it fits perfectly. And yes, it is on a longer side, but still, I find it really engaging from start to finish. I like the main theme of the record, which is death and some fatalistic lyricism by Waits here. It is a genuinely disturbing album, like I said, and the opening track, Earth Died Screaming, sets the tone perfectly for the rest of the album. I know, like I said, for some, it is a hard and difficult listen, but to me, this is a fantastic, fantastic album that really has that atmosphere that I love, and you have to be in a mood for to listen to this record. And yes, this album requires maybe a couple of listens to get into, but it is really rewarding. The range of styles here on this record is really great. There are a nice variety of sounds and influences throughout, and to me, this album feels like a perfect soundtrack for post-apocalyptic world. So yeah, it is great, and you should give it a go if you haven't, and give a shot to good old Tom Waits. So yeah, number seven, Tom Waits, Bone Machine. At number six, I have REM and their record Automatic for the People. And this is the first REM entry so far, and I just love how this record sounds. It is really focused, mostly acoustic compared to the previous record, which was all over the place. And yeah, when I say all over the place, Out of Time is, I don't know, out of place. Basically, that album has some great songs, but they just don't work together. It's like a compilation record. I don't feel it as a cohesive listen as, for example, Automatic for the People here, which in fact is complete opposite from Out of Time. This is a focused record that knows what it is doing, and they were going for a specific sound, and they, in my opinion, they nailed it. The album has big hits like Everybody Hurts, Man on the Moon, Night Swimming, and Night Swimming in particular is one of their best tracks and some of the best vocal performances by Michael Stipe. Some great deep cuts as well, like Ignoreland and Drive, which is my favorite. I like the dark and ominous sound that it has. Some great and beautiful crafted songs on the record, and I especially love the string arrangements by John Paul Jones. And overall, this album is one of their best records, and definitely, definitely a step up from Out of Time. Okay, this next five records are all fantastic, all five stars, and it was really difficult for me to place them, but I have to start from somewhere. So number five is gonna be Tori Amos, Little Earthquakes, and this is one of my favorite Tori Amos's records, and it is a start of a fantastic solo career. She ditched all of that 80s style synth pop from her previous band, Why Can't Tori Read, and started a solo career, just her and piano. She's like, in a way, always get comparison like this, but she's in a way like Kate Bush of the 90s, obviously way different. Uh, and this album is a fantastic debut. It is a really personal, emotional, honest record. And just listen to songs like Me and a Gun and Silent All These Years, and especially Me and the Gun, which is quite harrowing track that really gets under your skin. It's just story singing, no instrumentation. And those two tracks are really personal to her because they both deal with her experience with rape. And there are a bunch of tracks like these that deal with her personal life. For example, Winter, which is her relationship with her father. And what I love about this record, besides the lyrics and obviously the music, I just love her voice. It is really magical and really recognizable. The production is great. The arrangements are gorgeous, and at times the album is bleak, melancholic, but there are hints of hope sprinkled throughout. So overall, I really do love this album and one of the better debut records of all time for me at least. And Yeah, that's gonna be number five, Tori Amos, Little Earthquakes. At number four, I have Faith No More, Angel Dust. What a terrific album this is, and a big departure from their previous efforts. And as Billy Gold, the bass player, said, this is our first album, which in a way is true since Mike Patton didn't contribute to the real thing. He came in late for that, so here the influence is really apparent. It is a wild album, and Patton's input is everywhere. His vocal range is astonishing here. The playing is great, and unfortunately, yes, this is the last album to feature Jim Martin on guitars, but everything works here. The album is unpredictable and layered and fun to listen to from start to finish. It has heavy moments, it has weird moments, it has beautiful moments, and Billy's Gold's bass is really showcased here, especially on tracks like Crack Hitler. And to me, this is one of the more unique sounding records of the 90s, and the energy that Mike Patton brought to the band is really something else. I mean, he is a really unique person, and if you listen to what he done with Mr. Bungle, you can kind of hear the influence of that on these next couple of records. And it starts off with Angel of Dust, but the record that's gonna come after it, it's even wilder. I mean, I just love this album. It has a great production. There are some straightforward songs like Midlife Crisis, Everything is Ruined. Well deserving spot for Faith No More, Angel Dust at number four. At number three, I have second entry by one of my favorite bands. That's going to be Megadeth. I have Countdown to Extinction. This is a follow up to technical masterpiece that is Rust in Peace, and Countdown to Extinction is more song focused. It's more about melodies and hooks, and in a way, people say that this was their first step in selling out, which is obviously bogus. It really showcases Mustaine's ability to write catchy tunes, and that is more than apparent from the get-go. When Skin on My Teeth kicks in, it becomes evident that the band changed their sound, made it more appealing to the wide audience, and it paid out in the end since Countdown became a huge hit and one of their most commercially successful albums ever. There are still heavier thrash metal moments on this album, like as evident on the closing track, Ashes in Your Mouth. But the overall musicianship here is once again amazing. A bunch of great drum fills, solos, riffs throughout, and great uh, guitar playing by Marty and Dave. The production is great. It is really fitting, and I like how it sounds. It was produced by Max Norman and Dave Mustaine. It is really melodic and catchy metal album. Okay, two more to go. This was hard, but in the end, I decided that my number two will be Alice in Chains and their album Dirt, their second studio album. And this gotta be one of the most depressing albums ever. It is really bleak, it is desolate, full of despair and themes that are dealing with addiction and death. It sounds great. The guitar work by Jerry Cantrell is once again fantastic, even better than on Facelifts. The riffs are heavy. Lane Staley sings with so much emotion and pain on this record that at points can be really unbearable how difficult it is to listen because it's really depressing. Vocal harmonies between Lane and Jerry are once again beautiful. Their voices blend so perfectly that at times you can even be sure who's singing which part. Some classic tunes obviously here like Rooster, Wood, Down in a Hole, Them Bones, Angry Chair, you name it, fantastic tracks. And yeah, the album is gloomy, it is dark, it is full of despair, but at the same time, this album is full of catchy hooks and fantastic melodies. It is definitely one of the best albums of the 90s. It is a classic for a reason. So, yeah, I had to go with Alice in Chains at number two because my number one is The Cure and their album Wish. I don't know what happened and I don't know what's with this album, but if you ask me like 10 years ago, where would I put Wish in Cure's overall discography? It won't be at number two or number three or number four, but over the years, this album grew so much on me that it became one of my favorite Cure records. It slowly crawled its way in my top three. And in a way, this album feels like another Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. It has the best of the two worlds. Moodier tracks on one side, like Open from the Edge of the Grave Deep scene, and poppier tracks like Friday I'm in Love, High, Wendy Time. And that's the same thing that I liked about Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. That nice contrast between cheery melodic tracks to gloomier and dark ones. The band sounds amazing here. The production is great. It it's almost a perfect record. And when I say almost, it's not 10 out of 10, but it's really close. When the Time is the only song I think is just okay, because I think there are a bunch of B-sides recorded during this era that would fit Wish perfectly. And yeah, let's be honest, this might be, and this is the last fantastic The Cure record. Everything else that followed it was just, it's okay. But Wish is fabulous and it contains some of their best material. I think that from the edge of the deep green scene, yes, they played a lot live recently, but it is to me one of their best tracks and definitely a contender for top 10 Cure songs. Overall, fantastic record, fantastic playing, fantastic songs, beautifully crafted melodies. It has everything that I love about The Cure. And yeah, so yeah, this was my top 10 albums from 1992. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of it. What are your favorite albums? What are your least favorite albums from 1992? Put your list down below if you have any. And thank you again for watching. Please like this video, share it, subscribe. It means so much. And we'll see you in the next one, which will be 1993. Bye.